let me just first of all welcome you to Screen Chatter. I know we've talked, a few times before, but this is the first time I get to talk to you a little bit in depth. Thank you for your time today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it, Tony.
Tell me about where you were born and a little bit about your family life.
Well, I was born in Shiraz, Iran, back in 1960 something. Um, late 60s. Basically, we immigrated to the United States 1977, a year before the revolution happened. I don't know if you're familiar with what went down.
Oh, sure.
In Iran. Yeah, so we came here like a year before, and everything was really good. I mean, you would tell people, people would ask me, where are you from? I would say Iran, and they say, wow, what a nice country. We vacationed there, and there's a lot of monuments there, a whole bunch of things. And then as soon as the revolution happened, that's when it got really bad for everyone that lived here. I mean, there was racism going on, like at school. I used to get picked on, spat at. People that I was friends with, they no longer wanted to be my friend just because of all the stuff that was going on. So that went on for like 444 days exactly. So, racism has been around for a long time. It just circulates, it goes from one country to another, then you have the Asians, then you have the blacks and stuff. We just have to hang in there and deal with it. But yeah, we've been here for 40 some odd years now. And, I've gotten used to dealing with racism. So I just have to educate my kids on, just how to just take the situation. And, before we used to say that, when people asked us, where are you from? Instead of saying Iran, we used to say we're Persians, even though it's the same thing. But, people associate Persians with like a Persian cat or a Persian rug or something like that. So that's how we kind of evaded all these racism stuff that went down. But, I look Persian regardless of what I say, so it really doesn't matter.
How does that, bigotry affect your career as a documentary filmmaker?
Right. I mean, if you look at all the documentaries I've done so far, I've done 4, I'm working on the 5th one. There's always a segment about racism and how there's racism is involved and about minorities. It's just, I don't know, I guess it's ingrained in me, and I just have to tell that story, whether people want to believe that there is or there isn't. I mean, it happened to me, it happened to my family, it happened to people I know. It's out there, and I just feel like I just need to let other people that are coming from other countries here realize, they're not the only people. I mean, it's happening to everyone. So
do you remember when you fell in love with the movies?
Yeah, actually I do. When we were in Iran, my dad bought me a 16 millimeter projector. So we used to go pick up like old movies. Back then, all of our TV, everything was what you guys see here. So we would see Mission Impossible, my favorite Martian, Little House on the Prairie, everything what you guys saw here, we saw there, but it was dubbed in Farsi. So I fell in love with like Western movies. So I used to buy the Super 16 millimeter reels, and I would play them for my relatives, but it didn't have any sound. So I was in the background, and I used to just like make the horse sound and grab a pot and start making like the horse walking around and stuff like that. So it's kind of started from there. And then when we came here, the VHS cameras came out in like 1981 or something like that, but they were very expensive. They were like $1,000 for the camera and $1,000 for that, that thing that you carry and put the VHS tape in there. So I ended up selling all my collection of comic books, and I sold my bike, and I got some money from my father. So I ended up buying one of those cameras. That's when it started. I just, got all my friends together in the neighborhood. Back then I was into karate. So we ended up, the first little film that I did, it was called Enter the Black Belt, like, Enter the Dragon, like Bruce Lee, because Bruce Lee was kind of popular back then. So it started from there, and then, we had to edit the film within the camera. So after the film was over, we screened it to our family and friends, and, everyone was laughing and having a good time. I know they were family and they're trying to be supportive, but it just made me feel like, hey, I can make people feel a certain way by showing them, the films that I did. So I'm personally a very shy person, and I don't really, express myself in the correct way, but I can do it in terms of, motion picture and documentaries and stuff like that. And I tried doing feature films before I did documentaries, but feature films, you need a lot of money. You need at least, over $2 million. And it was hard for me to raise the money back then. I'm sure it's going to be easier now if I decide to do it, which that's my next step. But back then you only had like 10,000, 20,000 bucks, and you had to do a feature film with a cast of 60 and all that stuff. So people would quit on you. They would one day, oh, Kevin, I can't afford to be here for like 2 months, so I can't do it anymore. So, and then I would have to kill off the character. And then so the film, what I wrote and what you see, it's like two different things. It's just like the whole film doesn't make sense. So, it's a learning progress.
Did you attend school for film and television?
I did. I went to Columbia College up here in LA.
Mm-hmm. That's a great school.
Yeah, it is. It is. I wanted something more hands-on, but now they're affiliated with all the other places. I think Chicago, Columbia College, and all that stuff. But to be honest with you, I mean, it was a great school. But if you want to be a filmmaker, you don't necessarily need to go to film school. Right now, there's so many seminars, there's so much stuff on YouTube that you can learn. I would suggest the best thing is just go and intern at a company. Like I remember back then, Roger Corman was taking everyone. Roger Corman does like low budget films. You go work for Roger Corman, after 2 years, you can edit, you can direct. And
Roger's a hell of a guy though.
He's
an amazing guy.
Right. So if I had to do it over again, I would take that route as opposed to going to film school. But although there's nothing wrong going to film school, but if you are going to film school, go somewhere where there's connections, like USC. Chapman is not bad, but I would recommend USC. USC is the best place. That's where all the connections are.
I did that too. I mean, I went to film school and I've got my MFA and all of that, but there is something about being on set. I took jobs as extras and just to be on set.
Right. Me too. Right.
That's where you learn. I mean,
that's right.
Film school is theory, but practical, not, and the film business is the only business I think still around where you have to apprentice into it. Doesn't matter what your education is.
Correct.
You start by sweeping the stage.
Exactly. Even if you have a BA, if you have a master's, whatever you've done, you have to start from the beginning. But a lot of people don't realize that, especially the parents. I mean, I have a lot of friends whose their kids are going to film school, and it's hard for me to tell them. They just don't get the concept. They think it's like, go and studying, become a doctor or a lawyer. After you get your degree, you have a job waiting for you. With filmmaking, there is no job waiting for you. You got to prove yourself first.
Make your own job.
You make your own job. Right.
What brought you to documentary filmmaking? Because that's a very unique and wonderful part of the film business, because you are really mirroring a truth that you're following.
Well, the simple story is that with films, I love doing narratives. I mean, if I had to choose between documentaries and narrative film, I would do narrative. It's just getting the money, you have to have the right amount of money. I mean, 2 million, 4 million sounds like a lot of money. Even that's really not that much money. Yeah. If you want to get name actors, you have to get name actors for your film to sell. If you don't, then you got to go take the festival route. It's going to take years. And if you don't get accepted, then your film gets shelved and goes nowhere. So with documentaries, like today, I can come up with a concept. Hey, I want to do a documentary on so-and-so. I call them up and I, talk to them, and before you know it, the week later, we're doing it. I mean, in the beginning, I can put the money on my credit card or ask friends for money, but eventually, towards the end, always an investor comes in. Investors usually like to come in toward the tail end just to see how the progress is going. So I've been lucky enough that I've been getting investors for all the films, all the documentaries I've done. So that's why I started doing documentaries, because it's easier for me, and I don't have to rely on too many people, you know. I can do the, I mean, if I needed to, I can do the camera, I can do the editing, I can do the lighting, the sound, and everything. So that's one of the reasons I did documentaries.
Yeah, I think most documentary directors like the control that they have over all the aspects
Right.
of the film, even the film's look and feel. And you usually end up editing your own documentary too.
I do, I have to, but I'm getting to a point that I don't want to do that anymore. I want to find someone, because you lose a lot of life sitting in front of the computer. I mean, I have kids that are getting older. They're, you know, they're almost out. My son is like 22, my daughter's 18.
Wow.
And I just, one of the reasons I wanted to edit, so I can be home with them, and, you know, if they needed anything, stuff like that. But it just takes so long to edit. Each project takes, I don't know, anywhere. It depends how much you shoot, and it depends how the interviews are laid out. If you have everything, it takes anywhere from like 3 months to 3 years.
Yeah.
But if you haven't shot that much and you only have like 10 interviews, 15 interviews, you could finish it up in 3 months. So
now you have a great love for martial arts and martial arts movies, and that brought you to the Miyagi documentary. This documentary was just amazing. Pat Morita is such a multi-layered human being. He faced a lot of sorrow, a lot of tragedy in his life, and yet made people laugh.
Right. True. There are like a lot of characters that I want to do documentaries on. This one, I got lucky enough to meet the person that was in charge of allowing me to, you know, do a story on his life. The hard thing for me, he wasn't here, and he wasn't here to defend himself, because there were a lot of issues that I had with the story, that people would say that he's done this and he's done that, and I just don't want to show it because it's just one person telling me the story. And so basically I chose that part at the very end. 3 people could confirm that he actually did what he did. Yeah. That's why I chose that. But I didn't want to dehumanize him, because I love him. A lot of people love him. So I didn't want to take it upon myself to, you know, I try to do it as the kindest way that I could, to show his history and also show his, you know, drug issues and drug problems. I mean, everyone has some sort of an issue. I have an issue. I have uncles who are alcoholic. I know everyone. I'm sure you know someone that knows someone that has an issue.
Believe me.
So you can relate to it.
Life isn't, not messy. It is messy.
Right.
But I think the quality of the documentary talks about him overcoming all of that. Right. To a certain extent. I mean, he still had his ghosts and he still had his demons, but he was a wonderful human being, a very giving kind of person.
He was. Most of the people that I interviewed, actually everyone that I interviewed, the first thing they would say is that he made you laugh. And anytime that he had extra time, he would go and donate to the hospital, to the children's hospital. He would give away his money. So yeah, he was a very nice guy. I mean, I only met him one time, and it was very brief. I really didn't get to know him, but it was kind of weird that I would meet him and then 30 years later I would do a story on him. That's kind of strange, but you know, I'm glad it turned out the way it did, and it's getting good reviews. And I wish I could have gotten the other side too, where Ali Morita, and they just didn't want to be part of it, and I understand why they didn't want to be part of it. So I accepted that, and I did the best I could, to be honest with you.
Well, no, it's a great documentary. People should see it, especially with this new resurgence of the Karate Kid, and the new episodes coming, and they pay homage to Mr. Miyagi in every episode. Right. And I think Pat would really have loved that.
Right, I think so too. Yeah, I'm glad that they did that. They one of the episodes that they showed Pat's history and where he came from. I think even in season 4 that's coming out, they're gonna revive his whole character again. I don't know if they're showing him as a younger Miyagi or something, but I also heard that they're doing a series just based on Mr. Miyagi. So anything like that comes out, it's good for us. So we'll see.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
If you smoked, this new lung cancer screening could save your life. Visit SaveByTheScan.org.
As a single mom, I want to make sure my kids have healthy teeth. Going to the dentist can be expensive. Just a simple cleaning can cost over $100. Then I found TDA. And for about $1 a day, Total Dental Administrators covers my family on over 200 dental procedures. Whether you're an individual, a family, self-employed, or retired, your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these policies. Call or click for your free information kit and see how affordable dental health can be.
Do you like working with interns? Do you hire young kids to kind
Oh
of?
yeah. I love that. Yes. Actually, I used to run the Irvine Film Festival. I did that for 10 years, and I met a lot of people who had just started. So I have become friends with a lot of them, and I have my eye on them, and I watch what they do and all that stuff. So hopefully, the bigger project that's coming up, I'm gonna hit them all up and say, hey, it's time now. Let's get going. But yeah, I watch everyone's work, and I love whoever. Like, I went to also Orange Coast College, and I did a little seminar for them. I love helping people, because if I can just get them to where they need to be faster than I did, it took me a long time to get them there, like in a year. There's so many things you can do. What I wish someone would have told me is, when you're in school, make friends with everyone that's in your school, in your class. I mean, there is, let's say if you go to film school, there's 100 students, let's just say. Out of that 100 students, only 1% is going to succeed. One of them is going to be the one, is Spielberg, is going to be someone that's going to get somewhere. Make sure you work on everyone's project, become everyone's friend. So when that guy ends up making it, he's going to take him with you. That, I wish someone would have told me that. We had like 2 people in our class that are really big now, but back then we didn't have Facebook and Instagram. So if I hit them up now, they're gonna say, oh yeah, Kevin, what the hell do you want now? Why didn't you hit me up before? So, but we lost contact and all that stuff, so.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyways.
there are people out of USC that because of the context. We had Phil Joanna, who's a great director,
Right.
Cameron Keyes, who's one of my best friends, who's just a marvelous director and editor. But you're exactly right, because you do some things for free in college. You don't expect to get paid for student films and
You have to.
and this
Yes.
and that, but it is such good experience.
It is. And for some reason, these days, people don't feel the need to be helping anyone for free. I don't know what the reason is, because there's too many people who are pretending that they're doing something good and they have had bad experiences. I don't know what the reason is. No one wants to help anyone for free. I helped so many people for like over a period of 2 years. I worked on so many films, not even for a penny, just for experience. But it just doesn't happen that often right now.
You fall in love with this business, then you fall out of love. And I think it's in that moment that people just abandon it. They go, well, and they don't wait to fall back in love with it.
Right. No, this is the only thing I know how to do. And I have fallen out of love, and I bring myself back and I say, hey, listen, this is what you started and this is what you're going to finish. I don't want to end up going and working for, doing something else. My dad always tells me, he's in the car business. He said, whenever you want, you can just come and help me and all that. I said, Dad, I love you, but it's just that I didn't study cars, and I studied film, and I want to stay in film. So no, I have a very good feeling, especially with the screenplay that I'm writing about my life, the thing that we're talking about. So I'm on the 3rd draft right now. So I have a very good feeling that's going to go somewhere. If that doesn't go anywhere, then maybe after that I'll fall out of love and go somewhere else.
Well, you have a lot to write about. I mean, you've got both tragedy and success in your life.
Right. It's the right formula. I'm keeping the filmmaking part out of it. I'm just dealing with the time that we came and the racism and all the friendship and how that affected me and all that stuff, and how it affected my kids. That's basically what it's about. I think it's well done. I think if anyone reads it, which is hopefully, I'm not shopping it till like probably another 6-7 months from now, but I'll send it to you. You can check it out.
I'd love to read it
and see what you think.
Was your family a close-knit family?
Our family, yeah, my dad's side, we're all close. My mother's side, not so close because some of them are still in Iran and some of them are in Switzerland. They're all over the place. But the ones that are here in the US, which they're pretty close to me, yeah, we are. We're pretty close.
Was your mom a good cook?
Oh, yeah. She just called me up right now, right before the interview. She said, Kevin, I made you some food. Can I bring it by? And also, can I come and use your phone, WhatsApp, and call my sister in Iran? Because I don't, the iPhones are kind of complicated. I don't want her to. So she comes here and she calls, Iran and all that stuff. So she brings me food every day. Every day she brings me food. So I don't say anything. I enjoy it. So why not?
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month. Well, our time is almost up, and I want to thank you so much for being part of all this. See, we want to get to know you a little bit because the next couple of years are going to be big for you.
I think so. I can feel it. There's a lot of good stuff coming. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. It was nice talking to you, and hopefully we'll talk to each other soon.
I appreciate that. Derek, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Nice talking to you. Take care.
Bye-bye, my friend.
Bye.